This is part two of my take on what I call Du-ism, which is life lessons gleaned from the main character Shen of the Chinese drama series Melody of Golden Age, which came out in 2024. In this installment, I want to talk in a little more detail about Shendu's responses to the challenges and threats posed to him by his adversaries. For a quick recap, Shendu is the 23-year-old Grand Minister of the Imperial Guard, and he directly serves the Empress of a fictional empire set in ancient China. Although I will be referencing parts of the book that the series is based on, major credit for bringing this character to life goes to the actor Ding Yushi, who plays Shendu in the series. Given Shendu's strong commitment to his job in the service of the empire earns him many adversaries. These can be broadly categorized into three. The first is Lai Laozi, a court official who holds an office that is as important as Shendu's. The second is Mo Chanzi, a distant relative of Shendu's who was banished by the empress to a frontier city and who thus is plotting revenge against her. And the third is more of a love rival called Panchi. Lai Laozi, both in the series and more so in the book, is a sadistic man. His preferred method of torture is to boil people alive in a cauldron. He hypnotizes his own lover into committing heinous acts of murder and carnage. And although all his dark activities come to light only towards the end of the story, he is overall a very slimy person to deal with, and Shendu has to deal with him almost every day. Throw into this mix Shendu's new and naive wife Yanxing, who despite her great intelligence is unaware of the court politics that her husband is embroiled in and is unaware of how her every word and action can be twisted by Lai Laozi to threaten Shendu's safety. Lai Laozi even goes as far as to try and recruit Yanxing into his ministry. Shendu knows that Lai Laozi is doing this to try and use Yanxing as a pawn against him and also potentially harm her. Even so, he refrains from making a scene about it. He does what he can to give Yanxing the freedom to investigate cases herself, even though these cases might lead to Lai Laozi. Yet at the same time, he's cautious about the information that he gives her in the event that Lai Laozi is successful in his mechanizations, which leads to Shendu being stripped of his office and Yanxing being interrogated. His mind is clearly in overdrive, and yet he doesn't lose sight of his priority, which is to build a solid marriage with his wife. Shendu has already lost his family once, and he is determined to not let that happen again. This is despite the fact that there are many people sowing seeds of discord and mistrust between them, such as the Empress herself, who sends Shendu and his wife to the frontier city of Ganan on two separate secret missions. Shendu is not even sure whether Yanxing's mission is actually to spy on him for the Empress. In Ganan, he encounters both Mo Changzi and Panchi, the latter of whom is a freelance detective who is very clearly interested in Yanxing. Mo Changzi takes an instant dislike to Yanxing and constantly cautions Shendu against falling for her charms. While Shendu respects Mo Changzi as his honorary older brother, he is firm in his commitment to Yanxing. That just goes to show what a good judge of character he is. His feelings for Yanxing aren't merely based on her looks, it is her passionate commitment to justice which moves him. As he tells his subordinate Jinling early on in the series, that Madam wants to build a world that is kind and just, however, it is not easily achieved. And yet his actions throughout the series and the book show that he is trying to help her build just such a world. Panchi in the book is a more unscrupulous character than in the series. He is the son of an official and he is exceptionally brilliant. He is the youngest and only person to clear both the military exam as well as the administrative imperial exam. And yet he refuses to take office because he doesn't wish to be tied to anything. He flits about among the pleasure houses, investigating cases as a freelance detective and writing letters of complaint to the Ministry of Justice on scented paper. It is not him but Yanxing who, even as a low-level scribe in the Ministry of Justice, takes it upon herself to take action to resolve these complaints herself. And that is a core commonality between her and Shendu. They're both people of action. Panchi in the series becomes extremely disheartened when he gets to know that examinees from non-privileged backgrounds such as his won't be allowed to take the imperial exam. He doesn't do much about it other than complain, whereas it is Shendu who is trying very hard to pull strings to ensure that all examinees can appear for the exam, and he himself provides security at the exam venue. Even then, it takes a lot of coaxing from Yanxing for Panchi to make the effort to appear for the exam. Even though he eventually performs brilliantly in the exams, for inexplicable reasons, he loses out. And a great lesson to learn from this is that a person who lacks vision and who lacks grit and determination really can't get ahead in life. I mean, Panchi in the book and in the series come from different backgrounds. Book Panchi is privileged and series Panchi is not. But they are alike in their disdain towards high society and in talking big about how they don't care for hierarchy in society, but then they also take no action to change the status quo. Basically, Panchi has no sense of responsibility, and I think this is one of the reasons, the major reason why Shendu was so afraid of him trying to beguile his wife, because he knew that Panchi would never be reliable or be able to support Yanxing in the long run. His character is a foil to Shendu, who displays great sense of responsibility at all times. This is made very clear in the book when Shendu is critically injured and comatose, and Panchi is trying once again to win Yanxing over, and Yanxing tells him heatedly that there is no way he can compare to a man of such fine character as Shendu. Later as well, when the city of Ganan falls in a fight, Shendu appoints Panchi as the acting governor in place of Mo Changzi. Despite his great misgivings towards Panchi, he gives him a chance to prove himself in something that he's good at, which is administration. There's another episode in Ganan which shows Shendu's great resilience and adaptability. When Mo Changzi goes rogue and rebels against the empress, he insists on a war. In this scene, Ding Yushi looks majestic in his battle armor and his gilded longbow. However, what's anxiety-inducing is that these are the only reinforcements that the empress has sent to him. She has sent him no troops, and it is unclear whether she is dressing him up for his own funeral, showing implicit trust in him, or merely testing him. Shendu doesn't waste time thinking about this. He immediately starts setting up a ghost army sort of a hallucination, then tries a path of dialogue, and when that fails, he gives his best to the fight with Mo Changzi and wins. Clearly, this man has nerves of steel and extraordinary perseverance, which is why, as a viewer, I'm so glad that the series gives him and Yanxing a conclusive, happy ending. I find this series to be extremely rewatchable for the way it upholds the human values of loyalty, integrity, resilience, and character building. Besides the actors, each of whom gave a brilliant performance, major credit goes to the director, the screenwriters, the entire production team for very thoughtfully adapting 400 chapters of a book into a series for all of us to watch and enjoy. For those of you listening in, I do hope that you'll give the series a watch, or in some cases, a rewatch.